with a loud round of applause. Our next special guest is here, Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri. Remember, our nation is on its mission to become a superpower, but there can be space for bad narratives that plague the mindset of the people.
Absolutely, and to carefully understand the importance of battling such fake narratives from across and within the borders, we have none other than Union Minister of Petroleum, Housing and Urban Affairs, a former diplomat, and he knows precisely how important narrative is in nation building and global footing.
Absolutely. Before I invite Mr. Arnab Goswami, founding president of NBF and editor-in-chief of Republic Media Network, to take this session forward, could we please have an AV on this special session with Union Minister Hardeep Puri?
Change is brewing in India. India is building up like never before. India is reclaiming its identity.
स्वतंत्रता प्राप्ति के बाद पहली बार माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की दूरदर्शिता, सशक्त नेतृत्व और दृढ़ संकल्प के परिणाम स्वरूप देश के सबसे बड़े ट्रांसफॉर्मेशनल प्रोजेक्ट का शुभारंभ किया जा रहा है.
India is breaking away from the shackles of the past. But fake news continues. A counter-narrative devoid of fact permeates. The need of the hour is to reclaim our truth. One minister has been at the forefront of this journey.
और अभी जो फॉल्स नैरेटिव क्रिएट करते हैं हमारे जिन्होंने 2012 में एक आर्टिकल लिखा था, वी बैडली नीड अ न्यू पार्लियामेंट बिल्डिंग, दिस वन सिंपली इजंट फंक्शनल एंड इज आउटडेटेड. ये 2012 का जयराम जी का एक आर्टिकल है.
A former diplomat, a fierce nationalist, a man committed to building India. Joining us now on the NBF National Conclave is the Union Minister for Housing and Urban Affairs and Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas, Mr. Hardeep Puri, on Future of News, Building India, Battling Fake News.
Calling on stage Mr. Hardeep Singh Puri and Mr. Arnab Goswami for this fireside chat. Let's have a huge round of applause for the gentlemen as we look forward to this chat.
Thank you, Mr. Puri. You're very popular. I must say this, that pre-lunch, I was just telling Mr. Puri that usually, you know, the audience thins out during the pre-lunch and the post-lunch session. Now, in our case, when you have Hardeep Puri as the pre-lunch session and Himanta Biswa Sarma as the post-lunch session, you don't have the problem. So a round of applause to him, please. He's a freewheeling speaker, and before I start, I want to tell you that he's my senior from Hindu College. And in Hindu College, you're either a senior or a facha, as they say. So I'm like a fresher asking you the questions, Mr. Puri. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Anyone who's had the privilege of being grilled by you in Republic, on Republic, or in Times Now before that, knows exactly what he's in for, and that is what makes it more worthwhile.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll try my bit. A headline: ignominy of building the Indian Parliament by breaking the law. Another headline: bit by bit and trick by trick. Mr. Puri, they're calling you a trickster. Bit by bit and trick by trick, how the Central Vista became a reality. And one last one. Sitaram Yechuri. 20,000 crore central government money spent on the new house for the Prime Minister and other beautification schemes. Should I continue, or would you like to start? No, should I provoke you a bit more?
No.
These are the kind of headlines that you've attracted in the context of our... See, this is a news federation. In the context of the ongoing debate on fake news, etc., I'd like your response to this, please.
Thank you, Arnab. First of all, thank you for having me on your show this afternoon. I don't know whether this is pre-lunch or post-lunch, but I'm ready to be served here, you know. Look, I've been a student of the false narrative for longer than I can remember. I've also written a book in which I deal with the issue of the false narrative. But I think what we are facing here is not a false narrative in terms of an alternate set of facts. Arnab, I really think what we are dealing with here is a motivated, not properly thought through set of attacks against the government and in particular against the Chief Executive, the Honorable Prime Minister, on something on which if somebody had introspected and reflected on it, those who are producing that false narratives can only be losers. Let me explain. All those quotes you give, and there are many more that come to line. First of all, legality. My issue is who owns the land? The government owns the land. Where are government offices situated? In the capital city, many are situated outside and the government pays 1,000 crores by way of rentals. If the government owns the land, is it within its right to build or not to build? The answer is yes. So how can you say it's illegal? Then, lie upon lie. Now, first of all, I would be surprised if it came from people who are not educated or who are not aware of the environment within which they work. But let me share with your audience that I once appeared, and I think you had a clip on that there, when somebody brought to my attention a letter signed by 106 retired civil servants, amongst them former cabinet secretaries, amongst them former foreign secretaries. And the letter went on to say that the new parliament is being constructed because there is a feeling that the old parliament building is jinxed. Therefore, you need a new one. Then they went on to sign, put their signatures on that piece of paper which said, and Central Vista Avenue, what we now call Kartavya Path, is going to be completely destroyed because all the jamun trees will disappear, the green cover will be reduced, and Mummy, Daddy and Pappu will not be able to go for picnic there in the evening.
No, they said uprooting, why uprooting jamun trees for the Central Vista revamp is a terrible idea.
Now, I addressed that in the press conference and I said precisely what I'm going to say now. I said, ye kaun padhe likhe vidwan hai jinhone apna signature aise kagaz pe lagaya without either reading the contents or this thing. So it became fashionable to attack the government. So I took some of your colleagues, distinguished members of the Fourth Estate, to the Central Vista Avenue, what it was called then, Kartavya Path, when it was under construction. And I said, aren't you going to ask me कि वो jamun trees जो uproot किए गए थे? So he said, हम आपसे पूछ नहीं सकते हैं because you're standing under one, full bloom. So from the Kartavya Path, not a single tree was uprooted. We replanted 101 acres of greenery. We built about, 19 kilometers of additional footpath. We built 16 bridges over the water bodies because the path, Kartavya Path, previously beyond the water bodies was not accessible. So all that is done. Now it's there for everyone to see. I have been traveling relentlessly. And I asked, what is the likely footfall going to be over the weekend on one day? It says 100,000 people. Now the people have accepted it, but the quarters from which that false narrative was coming. Yeah. One of your colleagues, one of our friends.
Why do you keep referring to them as my colleagues?
Because you indulge them. Yeah, like you indulge me, sometimes you indulge them. But no, okay, I should withdraw that. No, but somebody is fixated on that domesticated pet which has grown into a angry lion.
Yes.
Now,
3 angry lions.
3 angry lions. So I had to write a polite letter saying, look, my friend, the original Sarnath lion is on the ground. Its height is 1 meter something. When you take an emblem and you have to put it on top of a parliament building, it's not on the ground level, it's at 33, 34 meters high, and it is 7.8 meters instead of 1 meter in terms of length. So you take something like this, obviously the mouth will also open up, And what you thought was a domesticated pet earlier now looks like a normal lion.
Yeah.
But they go on and on.
But I have a question for you. See, Mr. Puri, there are 78 channels part of this federation. I want to tell you about the 3 years back we started the federation. We said these channels must have a voice. And we said we want to de-Lutyanize the media in India. Lutyens being not a demographic or a geographical idea, it's a state of mind. Mindset. So we are all de-Lutyanized in our mindset. Question to you, sir. These people can't even agree on how much you spent. Somebody says 20,000 crores. Anand Sharma says 25,000 crores. Somebody else, Randeep Surjewala, says 13,451 crores. They can't even agree on how much money you spent. But why do you care for them so much? In the sense, allow me to complete. One more side. Sir, this media is a very marginal media. These websites, with the respect to them, who sometimes react to you are very tiny, very small, and the only thing they enjoy is your response. And they like saying the odd thing, tweeting the odd thing. In terms of mass reach and mass impact, they're negligible. Sir, before you have 78 channels. Each of them would reach to crores of people each. There are some networks here who reach 500 million people on a monthly basis. Do you, since this is a federation of channels across India, do you feel too much emphasis is given to one or two websites or one or two channels that operate for a small and limited audience out of this city?
Sir. I should be very careful before I answer that question.
Sir.
On the importance of the media, the importance of a federation, entirely I agree with you.
Okay.
In any democracy anchored in the rule of law, which believes in free speech, clearly whatever anyone says is important. But why does it become important, and why do I need to respond? Because if I don't respond, then who was it? Goebbels, who said that if you take a lie and repeat it 1,000 times, someone might start believing it. Why I said initially that they had not thought this through, because one day the building will be ready. And then the question is how much you spent or how big is the angry lion will be clear, whether the jamun trees are there or not. I make the limited submission to you and to your viewers that a government which is sensitive to what is said is better off than a government which is insensitive. People say that, there are certain tendencies which are, authoritarian. I have lived 39 years in countries abroad. I was a member of the Foreign Service. I don't know of any other country at any given point of time where the ruling democratically elected government is abused so roundly and in such vicious terms, and people say that democratic things are under this thing. The only time that democratic credentials were under threat in this country is when civil liberties were curtailed in 1975. Today, anyone can get up and abuse anyone. So I think good defamation, libel laws is the answer. But for a minister of the government, and today I must say, Modi ji's ministers are like chief operating officers in departments. Now, where you have to take cognizance even of criticism. Now you come to the question of cost. By anyone who knows anything, this is an open tendering business. So we have what are called budget estimates. And after the budget estimates, there is a system of floating tenders. Very often, the budget estimates are very realistic and the tender is close to that, but is always lower. I mean, if you can get a parliament building built, I don't remember offhand, but I think 1,200 crores.
Correct.
How is the Prime Minister's house, whenever it's built, going to cost 20,000 crores? I mean, it stands to reason. The total cost of the project, which means 8 new central secretariat buildings, all that. But we will only know when the tenders are done. We are at a very initial stage yet. We've done Kartavya Path. I think the budget estimate was, what, 600 crores or something like that, and we've got it done for, what, 450 or so, as far as I remember. So, as I said, this is not just make-believe, but they tried to create a narrative to somehow say that during the COVID pandemic, the government was being wasteful and building. I went hoarse trying to tell them that the COVID management is a completely different thing. And look, again, the facts speak for themselves. We have, rather the system, the Prime Minister's operation have resulted in 219 crore vaccine doses to be distributed free almost to all our citizens.
True.
Whenever I go into a public debate, I ask people, is there anyone amongst you who's not had 2 shots? Not a single. And I ask, many of you have had 3 shots? Hands go up. And what was the opposition saying then? Mr. Jairam Ramesh, one of the gentlemen whose quote you read, said the government is not completed the clinical trials for the domestically produced vaccine, Covaxin. Government must have applied its mind, government must have done something. Now, I'm not sure if that argument being advanced then was designed to facilitate the import of expensive foreign vaccines.
You're saying political parties can become a conduit or lobbies for corporates?
Well, I'll give you another example. There is a Yuva Neta. Now, you don't require much imagination.
How old is he, sir?
Looks 25, maybe 50, I don't know. He turned around and said, Modi ji, हमारे बच्चों की vaccine कहाँ है? And me in my normal style, I said, राजस्थान में जहाँ आपकी सरकार है, उसके वहाँ पे आपने कूड़े में फेंक दिया, और पंजाब में आपकी सरकार है, उस समय थी, वहाँ पे आप मुनाफाखोरी कर रहे हैं. So that vaccine, when we are talking about false news, false narrative, it's not anything I deal with. Anything I deal with, it comes. Because there are...
changing? Is it changing? Because I saw recently things are changing, like a magazine that is constantly against India and keeps abusing India, maybe to reach out to a particular audience, has now started accepting that we are one of the fastest growing economies.
You know why it's changing?
Why?
Because the reality is asserting itself. You're right.
You're right. But
I'm 100% sure.
But I get angry. I'll tell you why I get angry. I'm told this is Bloomberg, I'm not sure. Look at this headline, gentlemen. And by the way, Mr. Puri, your next answer, it will be my last question, open it up. By the way, Mr. Puri has been one of the finest diplomats representing India globally and especially in the United Nations. So there is something we need to ask him here. When this news agency says, Britain drops behind India to become the world's 6th largest economy. Look at this. Britain drops to become the 6th largest economy.
I thought the one that is becoming something is the one which is...
No, see the next line. See the next line. The former British colony jumped past the UK in 3 months to become the 5th largest economy. They are describing India after 75 as a former colony. I'm talking to you about mindsets. You've talked to me about falsities, information war internally. But I also believe there is a greater battle externally. And I believe it's time we need a counter. I truly believe this country needs a stronger counter, but I'd like your thoughts on it.
But before you throw this open, I have just one small comment.
Please.
You know, as a student of history, I can tell you that we had republics in the east of India, Vaishali, hundreds of years before Christ. We are a 7,000-year-old civilization. That British exposure, look, I'm an admirer of the UK. I have a lot of friends, so I'll not go into that. You've studied there, so I have to be polite. But
where?
At Oxford, don't do that.
Oxford and Cambridge.
Okay. Now, issue is the British interaction with us was only 190 years out of a total history of 7,000 years. So if we reclaim what is legitimately ours and shed aside the colonial mindset, that's something that should be celebrated. But these people are not accepting that. So I totally say it's not that India has become the 5th largest economy. I want to add something to that. India will be the 3rd largest economy in the world by 2030.
Whoa. That's a good headline to give us, sir. 3rd largest by 2030.
I have no doubt about that.
That's incredible.
I travel all around the world on my job. Don't see this kind of economic buzz that I see in India anywhere in the world.
You and Jaishankar, Mr. Jaishankar, and you are the angry young men in this government now.
Angry.
You are a little more angry, and he's also angry. So it's like a, you know, Amitabh Bachchan, Shashi Kapoor combination, you know. But we are enjoying it. I enjoy it when you go to the US and elegantly lose your cool when it comes to questions about our imports of oil from Russia, for example, right? I want to know from you how the Western world responds to you.
I told a young colleague who's a member of the Foreign Service who's now working in my ministry, and he said we are likely to come under this, that, and the other. He was saying like pressure. I told him, young man, pressure is something, unless you're doing weight training, it's only something that can be felt in the mind. But if your mind is wired not to feel the pressure, I don't think there's anyone who can pressure Modi's India.
Oh,
Simply all that.
Fantastic. Okay, opening up to some questions. All right, Uday, let's rotate the mic around a bit. You got a mic rotating? Okay, I'll take 3 questions. Okay, any of the NBF members, anyone wants to put a question here? We'll put a couple of questions here. Anyone here? Anyone internally? Okay, Karthik's putting a question, then I'll take the mic behind.
Sir, Arnab just spoke about how Bloomberg had positioned India on becoming the 5th largest economy. Do you feel that the foreign media is fair to India in the way we have progressed in the last 8 years, and India's position in the world globally has become more formidable? Do you find that the global media is giving India its due credit, what it deserves?
Look, first of all, my distinguished colleague and friend in the Rajya Sabha, first of all, India is not looking for credit, point 1. Number 2, who is the foreign media? Now, most of the people I know in the foreign media who have any knowledge of India are the Indians working for the foreign media stationed in Delhi. Okay? Now, they have habitually got used to looking for that narrative where something is going wrong.
Correct.
It's been part of their DNA.
Snake
Arre
charmers
bhai, wo
logic.
barish aa gayi. One colleague of my dear friend, the host, one day it rained incessantly, and about 2 or 3 inches of water which collected in that underpath and Kartavya path. He said, and this MP, who's from a state neighboring here, said, 6,000 crores down the tube. Because down the tube, is a play on words. Why? Because 3-inch barish aayi, you collect hogi, the whole central vista is destroyed. And they showed some old pictures. Okay? When it was under construction. Now, the chief operating officers of the department have to swing in. So I was abroad, I called the CPWD Director General and I said, yaar, wo kya kehta nahi tha, kya photo to ye hai. तो मैंने कहा ये कौन सी फोटो तो पुरानी थी whatever नहीं. And then somebody working with him was so illiterate, he turned around and said, we have just uploaded it from Google. But the uploading time is, you can upload an old photo and the time which will be shown will be when
by that time it's gone over the world.
By that time it's gone all over the world. Look, there is a sneaking streak, admiration and appreciation for what India has done. Even our worst critics will tell you India's COVID management, its healthcare sector reform, its contribution to sustainability, green energy, is second to none. Plus the economy is growing at 7% for heaven's sake. At a time when the largest economy is in a quarter-to-quarter recession, when countries in Europe are today in financial straits. So there is admiration. Is everybody happy about it? I'm sorry, Karthika, let me tell you, in our own system, we have 10 friends, 2 do very well. So thoda sa to, अरे ये कैसे निकल गया? वो इंडिया में एक और होता था यार. Remember when you were much younger, when we were in the university, we used to call it the crab mentality. If a crab tries to grow up, all the others combine to pull him down.
Yeah.
So itni kharab nahi hai, but the fact of the matter is, why do you have countries lining up to visit India? Why is the Prime Minister on a personal level in a very dynamic, interactive summit diplomacy thing with all the leaders of the world? And the facts speak for themselves. There's a large country which is completely in lockdown, the major cities. And here I don't see a single one of us wearing a mask.
Sir,
One more question. Just one more. Let me take it back, Karthik. One more. Pass it on to any one person, please, in the audience. Yeah, I know you've got lots of questions, but...
Lots of hands are coming
Lots
up,
of-
but yes. Mr. Puri, can you just tell about this Ukraine-Russia war going on? How long it will continue and what are the political...
You should address that question.
Mr. Jaishankar, okay,
You
we'll
should
pass
address that question
We'll take
to
another
my
question.
colleague or to
One more question.
the presidents of the two countries or the others involved in supporting them.
Okay.
Sir, I come from the sixth largest economy in the world, so I'm a little ashamed to be in front of you. But may I ask, you have covered this subject of battling fake news with great, really very, very good attitude to it. Why then is it necessary for government to intervene against fake news when the truth surely should be the best tool in battling fake news?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I'm not entirely sure whether I understood the question. If I think I got, there may have been a sound issue involved.
What is the why does the government need to have a role at all in countering fake news? Shouldn't the truth speak up for itself?
Yes,
Is more or less what you say?
truth is the best defense in all cases. Only problem is when you have the responsibility of running a government and a piece of false news goes around, social media, mobilization, etc., it can create devastating consequences. Let me give you, if somebody spreads the news that there has been a social disturbance somewhere,
Right.
and the root goes away and says, well, denominationally this is happening, minority community, it can, government does not need to counter everything. Therefore, everything that's written about me or my ministry, I don't counter. I follow our host's example and say, let the facts speak for them.
Correct.
But sometimes it becomes necessary in order to contain damage.
Well, Mr. Puri, all I'll tell you is we love the way in which you fiercely counter the narrative. More power to you, and thank you very much for coming for the NBF, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you
Sir,
very
thank
much.
you, Mr. Puri. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hardeep Singh Puri ji, for joining us in that riveting session, and thank you, Mr. Arnab Goswami, for moderating that session. We will, of course, be continuing these conversations through the day, of course, today, Niranjan, as we move forward in the NBF.
Yes, we're breaking for lunch for exactly 20 minutes. 20-minute lunch. Ladies and gentlemen, it has to be a quick lunch because we have the Assam Chief Minister coming up after that. Requesting everyone to reconvene at 2:50 p.m. At 2:50 we reconvene and we have a superb lineup in the second half. At 2:50 p.m.